Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're gonna be reacting to.
They never intended for you to be free.
This is
Who's
one of my
they? I don't know.
favorites to talk about because, as an American, we grew up with this constant drumbeat of telling us about what a great country America is because it's so free and because we have all this freedom and so forth. This is the ultimate example of a misconception. America is the land of the free. It's completely meaningless. I mean, ask an American, what do you even mean? What do you mean by freedom? What do you mean by the freedom that you have that other people don't have? It's like saying America is the best country because we have the color green. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, you may have health care in your country, you may have efficient public transportation in your country, but at least in America, we have the color green.
Oh, well.
The average American citizen has less freedom than any random villager in Indonesia or in Ghana or in any other part of the global south. What freedom are you even talking about?
I don't know. That's extreme. I can't fuck with that. Less than freedom than in Ghana. I mean, come on. You're really comparing. I mean, yeah, maybe in Ghana or Indonesia they do have less freedom, but come on. In a village, comparing life in God, of course, living in a society, you have to give up certain freedoms, and that comes with living in a society, because you living around other people. If you live by yourself in the middle of nowhere, you're way more freer than anybody who's living in a city. That's a fact. You can drive your car anywhere you want. There's no roads. There's nothing. You drive it on the grass. Nobody gives a fuck. In a city, you can't do that because there's laws. So that is true. A person in Ghana living in a village, it is freer than the average American. But that's come on, that's just a horrible example.
I mean, you're living, most Americans, the overwhelming majority of Americans, as we've been talking about when we were talking about the economy, and you can
It's like the same. Somebody here in the States living in Wyoming is freer than we are living here in the city of Miami. They're definitely freer. They can go roam in the middle of the forest, chase some bisons. There's nobody around. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. They are freer because there's just less. Nobody can see what you're doing because there isn't people there. Like the whole state of Wyoming has what, 500,000 residents? That's, yeah, you're pretty free there. So the more the bigger the city you're in, the more constricted you are by other people. The more you interact, because that's what it comes with living in a society. That's why you abide by certain rules because you're part of a group.
can't separate the economy and the economic standard of living and quality of life of the people. You can't separate that from their freedom. Most Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. For most Americans, if they miss even one paycheck, they're going to be thrown out onto the street. That's the reality. You don't have just one master in America in terms of your slavery. We were talking about debt slavery, wage slavery, and so on. Your employer is your master. Your student loan officer is your master. Your landlord is your master. The credit card bureau is your master. Your mortgage loan officer is your master. Your insurance adjuster, your HMO, the IRS, your credit card company, they're all your masters. In America, you're a slave
Oh,
with
let me
many
see.
masters,
I don't know.
and they all have their chains on you, and they all have their
Does it
own
say in
lash.
the description?
No, the description is
Oh,
middle nation. I
maybe
don't
in the
know.
comments?
This gives me a propaganda video, like anti-American propaganda. That's slavery did not end; it evolved.
I wish I knew who was talking to kind of
Mm-mm.
understand from what position he's speaking on.
That they can use on your back. So, what freedom do you have? You have more laws in America and more regulations in America than any other country in the world. The average American's daily life is governed or influenced or restricted, or in one way or another determined, literally by tens of thousands of laws and regulations.
And so is in every other country in the world, except okay, maybe if you take middle of Ghana where there's no people around you, yeah, maybe you don't. What that doesn't make no
The
sense.
thing is, I think what's missing is that at the end of the day, people will have the choice. So you can choose to agree with this system, or you can relocate to a system that you
Exactly,
can follow and feel like it's along the lines your belief system.
and that's freedom.
I think when you think that you're stuck, you yourself lock yourself into that society.
No, but you're absolutely right. That is freedom. You can
Mm-hmm.
change your
Mm-hmm.
surroundings, change the system. A
It's
person
just
in the middle of Ghana cannot do that.
it's just you have
It's
to
just
make
come on.
you just have to make the choice and be okay with the consequences of your choices. I'm not saying that people have equality, because obviously life has like a long hardship of history of disadvantages, slavery, government in favor of some people as opposed to others. But now I would say you can somewhat plan to remove yourself from this system. And we have seen people who choose to leave and opt out the US system who have chosen to go to live in probably like Ghana and whatnot like that.
Yeah, but where, what is the place on earth that you don't have to abide by these laws that he's talking about?
Uh,
Like literally, where is that? In the middle of Russia?
Because
Maybe.
you still have to, because what's the misconception is if you
There's,
go over to a different society,
there's different
that
laws.
you don't have to adapt to their culture norms because
Yeah.
they probably have their culture norms and habits that they like to maintain, which is why they have the space that they have. You can't just come in and bring your mindset from the States to a new location like that.
Yeah, you have to adapt to those laws, and there
Mm-hmm.
are certain laws you have to sacrifice certain freedom. It's
So,
am I saying that
yeah,
America is the freest country in the world? No, we
yeah,
saw the
yeah,
statistics.
yeah.
There are countries that are freer, but to say that, oh, America, there's so many. Come on,
But I do
stop this.
think
This is
it's a
propaganda.
valid, I think it's a valid statement to say they never intended for you to be free because
That's
the
fair.
choices are kind of like designed in a way where you are kind of pushed to a certain direction,
Yeah, they push you. They
you
push you.
know?
I agree.
So this statement is valid, but to make it sound so easy that living in Ghana you're free,
You are
no,
free.
it comes with its own set of hardships that you can view. Wow, I don't feel too free.
No,
I don't feel too
you are
comfortable.
free in the middle of Ghana, but guess what? You better
Not necessarily.
you.
For you, how easy is it to get a car in Ghana
Oh
like
no no
that?
no
How
no! You're
easy to
not
get
getting no car.
resources
You
is?
walking by foot. You're gonna have
How
to go
easy?
hunt a fucking tiger and eat that meat, cause you ain't you free, but you better go hunt your fucking food, cause that's what it takes to be free.
Mm,
That's the freedom. You free to do whatever the fuck you want there,
uh,
but you have no gun too, cause you ain't got no money, cause you free.
mm.
So take a stick and go chase some sort of wild animal, cause that's what you're eating for dinner today.
And
That's the true
in
freedom.
part in Ghana, there's like cities too as
No,
well.
but then you're not free. You're abiding by the society
Mm,
rules. To be totally free, you are in the middle of
mm,
nowhere with nothing but animals and nature around you. Then you free.
mm.
Yes, you do not have to abide to anybody else's
But
rules.
it's like very easy to do this comparison. Oh, USA versus
That's what I'm
Ghana.
saying. That doesn't make no sense.
Mm.
Now, if you want to compare, truly compare, so first stop being vague and just saying,
No,
oh,
because I think this is like pulled from something, so
yeah, but
it's out of context. I don't
that's
know
what
the
I'm saying is
context we're
propaganda
talking.
because he's being
Oh,
vague.
I don't know.
He's not giving a concrete example. Say,
Maybe let them talk.
okay.
Upwards of 50,000 to 100,000 rules uh, at the municipal level, the state level, the federal level. Not to mention the rules in your own company that you work for, whatever rules that your employer imposes upon you. This is like scaffolding around the daily routine and activities of the American people, of any average American citizen. Most of these rules actually only exist, no matter what they tell you. They'll tell you that these rules all exist to make the society better and to protect you and to make you safe and so on. But the truth of the matter is, and any American who's listening knows this to be true by your own experience, that these rules only exist for the purpose of generating revenue for the enforcing body of those rules through the imposition of fines and fees and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
But
real
it also
purpose.
creates predictability, so you can have a sense of order because what rules do is kind of set forth an expectation, and with that expectation, people can predict and make plans for the future. Like
But
for example, if we were all to be free and we're all on the road, there would be chaos. There would be a lot of accidents because no one's following regulation of a set of rules that tells you, okay, you have to stop when the light is red. You have to stop at the intersection. You have to let the pedestrian cross over. Now, if everyone is free, is they make their own rules, I would see a lot of havoc, a lot of accidents.
And that's why I said in the middle of Ghana, you free because there's no roads, there's no cars, and it's why are we talking about America here? Literally, that's how 99% of the world works. Is what he's describing is literally every country they have laws, they have municipal laws, they have a countrywide laws, they have a
Yeah.
citywide law. Every single country,
In
every advanced society, that's how it
in
works.
essence, he's challenging if there's purpose for government.
Yeah. So what does he want? He wants fucking anarchy. Because that's what it sounds like. It was
Because no
chaos.
matter what, even if there was anarchy, you will see some sort of formation of a government form. There's gonna naturally gonna be a
Yes.
leader. There's gonna naturally gonna form a task everyone is responsible for, so that they can operate as one unit. Because otherwise, we're looking at each other like enemies.
Because
Because we can't trust each other.
yeah, because if there's true freedom, like
Yeah.
freedom to do whatever the fuck you want to do, there's no repercussions. People would just
Yeah.
start killing each other because there's no
You
repercussions.
would
Just do what you want.
you would see what they were doing back in the day, which is you go on a boat and decide I'm gonna take over the country, I'm gonna take over the
That
land,
was
I'm gonna take
freedom,
over the
yeah.
people.
That was
That's
freedom.
that's freedom.
That's freedom. I'm gonna
That's
go kill
freedom.
everybody indigenous and I'm gonna take this land. That's freedom. We don't want that. There's restrictions for a reason. Like this video don't make no sense.
Behind most of these. It's not health and safety and security and efficiency or what have you. It's just to make money off of you. And you have no say in America, in your great democratic country. You have no say in how any of that money is spent. Any of that money
That's
that they collect from you,
false.
that they oblige you to pay, you have no say in how any of that money is spent. You don't
That's
decide
false. And I
what
think like a conversation like this is what discouraged people from voting, because you feel like, oh, it's pointless. And when it's pointless, it offers, the person who's talking like this to rise to power and to manipulate people, because you're discouraging others to gain their power, because their power is within their vote. So when you discourage others, you take away their vote and you assume the power. So you're making yourself stronger and the people weaker.
Honestly, if you took this video and showed it to Republicans and said, "Oh, this is what the Democrats want," I see why they voted for Trump. Because this is, to me, this is so much Trump propaganda. Because this is such an anti-American video that you see somebody talk about America like that is
Yeah, I
ridiculous.
don't know who's this person.
Like this is just ridiculous. Like that's how Trump got elected, because of this video right here.
anyone who collects that money, you have no say in what they do with that money. So I'm asking, what freedom do you have? What freedom do you have that's so special and so unique? None. Honestly, none. Zero. There are no freedoms that you have in the West, in America, that are not available elsewhere. And there is freedom elsewhere that you do not have in America. But they tell you all the time about how free you are, so that by implication, you will assume that every other country in the world is an oppressive tyranny and no one is able to do anything. And
No, nobody's assuming that. There's different freedoms in different countries, but every country abides by some sort of rules. There's no total freedom
Yeah.
anywhere. Now, as we said, if to make his case, we have seen videos where they show, the freedom index, I think it's called. America is not the freest country. Nobody's saying it is, but if he wants to make a case, compare those statistics, and then, make a statistical comparison. How are you freer in, let's say, UK versus America? Then we can talk about it. Here, he's just basically talking all this shit about UK, not saying, but implying that in the rest of the world there's total freedom. He's not saying that. He's implying it. He knows what he's doing. And now we're just supposed to sit here and like, oh, America is just everybody's a slave to money, like, as if in other countries you don't have to pay taxes, you don't have to get a job, you can just sit on the couch, chill all day and nothing. Like, how are you gonna eat? Like, come on, we gotta stop living in a fantasy land. It's just life. Like, no matter where, and yes, in America it's a little more extreme than, let's say, Europe, somewhere in Europe. It is a little, maybe not as extreme. Money doesn't run as much, but still you have to pay taxes, you have to pay electricity bill, you have to pay water bill. What do you want to live? You want to go live in the middle of nowhere in a little hut with no electricity, no water, no nothing? You want to go hunt food for yourself? Is that what you want? Because yeah, then you don't have to pay nothing, you're free. But is that the life you want? Like, this don't make no sense.
And then, of course, you have the fact that the overwhelming majority of Americans never leave that country, so they don't even know what it's like in any other country. Western civilization, so-called civilization, never did actually believe in freedom as the highest value. That's the reality that they don't even want you to know about. They never did believe in freedom as the highest value. This is just something.
I think so. I think the highest value is safety and security, not freedom. I think anybody, you would ask anybody, is probably like health, safety, security. Those are the number one concerns, not really freedom. Not, at least not ultimate freedom. Yeah, nobody wants to be in prison. I'm not saying that, but like, in terms of like ultimate freedom, just to do whatever you want with no repercussions, no, I don't think that. I think everybody wants to be safe and secure first, and healthy first and foremost.
Something that they tell you. It's just part of the sales pitch to convince you about how wonderful your society is. I mean, if you go back to the alleged philosophical roots of Western so-called civilization, to ancient Greece and so on, these philosophers that they always claim as their own and as their inspiration, Aristotle didn't believe in this. Plato didn't believe in this. The real foundation of Western belief has always been more authoritarian and classist than it was ever liberal and democratic. They always believed in order and the security of the status quo above liberty and freedom. Always. They always believed in power being held by the elite. If you've read these philosophers, you'll know that. And if you've read, whether you're talking about the Greek philosophers, the Enlightenment thinkers, or the so called founding fathers, that's the lineage of thought behind the modern Western power structure. They just sell to the public this idea about freedom. Because anyone with any sense knows that you can't actually even base an organized society on liberty and the so called sovereignty of the individual. Everyone who thinks about it for more than 5 seconds knows that. If your society was actually based on what you claim it was based on, well, that's a Ted Kaczynski mentality. How long would your society even last like that? The whole of America would be like the backwoods of Montana. But they don't even respect you enough. The government, the power structure, doesn't even respect the population enough to tell you that. To tell you that obviously you can't base a society on freedom and liberty. Instead,
So what, he's contradicting himself now? I'm so confused by this video. Like, yes, we literally just said, yeah, you need some sort of restrictions.
Yeah, it's just it's in between unlimited freedom or is restricted freedom, and how do we feel about that?
I'm not sure what's the point he's trying to make here.
they have to tell you about how free you are, and they just gaslight you, feed into your fantasies because they think that you're like children. They treat you like children. They don't even want you to understand the real system that you live in. That's why they don't even educate people properly. That's why you can see these videos online where people are asking random Americans on the street basic questions, like name a country that starts with the letter B. And they say, shoes. The level of idiocy that's being imposed upon the public.
Those videos, oh my god, I told you, like in Lithuania even, we have a show that they go and ask questions and people only pick the stupid answers. They don't pick, come on, of course.
This is a propaganda video.
This
I
is,
don't know
this
about
is so...
Is astronomical. You'll probably say the freedom to criticize the government, the freedom to protest. They only give
Obviously, well, you clearly American, he's American, so you have this freedom to criticize the government. You criticizing right now, criticizing everything.
you the freedom to protest.
I don't even know the point
in a
you're trying to
democracy,
make here.
When they're not actually giving you democracy. I mean, think about it. Think that through. Why would you even need to go out in the streets and demand this or that if you have a democracy? If you have
Oh, we have a democracy, all right. Democracy is because
It's actually written in the Constitution that the people can choose to revolt if deemed necessary.
and because of democracy, we are able to elect a convicted criminal because of democracy. That's what allowed. Because if it wasn't a democracy, a criminal would never get convicted if there was some sort of rules. No, there's a democracy. That's who people chose. It's complete democracy.
political institutional mechanisms for having your demands met, why should you protest? Why would you even need to do that? Because your government ignores you. That's why. So your freedom to protest, your freedom to criticize the government, just means that you have the freedom from being listened to. You have
The protests come because some people disagree with the government. It's impossible to elect somebody that every single person would agree.
And it can also sway people's mind too, where they would have to reconsider, okay, what is the public's interest?
Who is this person?
I don't know, I'm just
the
listening.
freedom from being listened to. In fact, democracies have actually just perfected the exclusion of the population from policy-making decisions. They perfected it. The whole so-called democratic mechanism, the whole structure, is actually designed to completely marginalize the population. So they've got.
So yeah, communism is better. Is that what he's saying? Let's go be a
There's
communist society.
criticisms, there's issues that needs to be worked on, but there's no such thing as a
Right.
perfect system.
Nobody's saying it's perfect, but we see perfect. We take a look at EU. We react to EU news. Corruption too. The EU lady, she's being accused of corruption with the Pfizer thing. Like, come on, there's any.
But don't let him anger you.
No, he pisses me off.
Because to me, I just take it like, when you're at the gym and then someone's giving you a speech and you're just like,
No, because he speaks with such an authority. That's what annoys me.
I let him know.
Not too
No,
busy right
that's
now.
you giving him power. Don't do that.
Thinking about the election, thinking about who's going to win, and we have to
I
vote for this,
truly
vote
feel
for
like
that,
he's the
vote
reason
against
Trump
this,
got
vote
elected
against
right
that.
here.
When real power is completely removed from that whole process. but they've got you completely distracted from where real power is.
This is like how, you know, there's the MAGA right, like the far right. This is like the far, far, far left one. No government, anarchy, absolute anarchy right here.
Because they've convinced you about how free you are and about how democratic your society is, which just actually, in real practical terms, means that you have no power whatsoever. You have no voice whatsoever. That's why it doesn't matter one bit when you go out and protest in the street. It doesn't matter. That doesn't matter
That's not
any more
true.
than you putting your vote in the ballot box. It is equally insignificant to what will
You
happen in
see,
terms
he's
of policy.
discouraging
It
people from
begins.
Yeah,
voting.
that's what I'm saying.
That's taking away people's
Yeah,
power.
that's what I'm saying. He wants
No,
communism. I don't know
no,
what he
no,
wants.
no,
What is this?
no.
From the misconception of thinking that your so-called
Oh
civilization
no.
never believed in freedom and liberty and democracy and so forth. They never believed in that. And if you actually read the as I say, the Greek philosophers, if you read the Enlightenment thinkers, if you read the founding fathers, they never believed in that for 1 minute. And so you actually have the system that they wanted you to have, that you have the system that
No,
they
I
believed in,
think that they
but you
have
have a
their
very
criticisms and thought of the issues that can arrive
Yes,
from
because
from a democracy.
there is issues in democracy.
Yes,
That's not a
it's
perfect
not
system, but it's the
flawless.
best we have.
very different system than the one that you believe in, the one that you think you have. It's completely different, but it's the one that they always intended it to be, which is the power being held by the elite and the population being completely marginalized and disempowered.
Oh, can I see the comments again? What do people say? Oh, when I see videos like that, I pass. This
This
was
man just,
suggested to us.
yeah.
Oh,
This man just said everything I've been thinking about the American government for the last 40 years of my life. My friends think I'm crazy. And I tell them America is not a free country. It's not even a real country. It's actually a United Corporation. I challenge anyone to change my mind. You can
usually when those people say challenge to change my mind, I don't waste my time.
you can pay for a house, then lose it if you cannot pay the taxes on it. He's absolutely right. I mean, yeah, but again, these are any societies the same way. If you don't pay taxes on your house in Norway, it's gonna be the same outcome. I mean, I don't know, maybe not Norway, but it's like you have to pay taxes in
But
any
you
other
know,
country,
you
developed
can
country.
also, if you don't like it, you can choose to, say, okay, I need to pack it up and go. Okay. Guys, of course, let us know your thoughts. If you feel like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. And as always, 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 share as much kindness as possible.